What's up, ranchers? Welcome back to the ranch. All right, today I'm here at a foreclosed house in Long Island, and in front of the house there is this wonderful Chinese chestnut tree that's just giant. So I'm here collecting some chestnuts, try to root some for the ranch for next year. All right, guys, we're gonna pick up some chestnut trees, nuts, and hold them in this cup for a moment. Stay tuned. You just saw me collect some chestnuts from a local foreclosed house in the area. And today, we're gonna get these seeds, or nuts, to take root. Let's talk about chestnuts for a few seconds. Chestnuts from the chestnut tree are a highly sought after form of forage by deer. Now, the chestnuts were in the United States and in the North America region forever, and it caught a blight, a sickness that ended up killing it all out. But what's remarkable about these chestnuts is it's still ingrained in a deer's DNA that they absolutely love the taste of chestnuts. So what happens is they've never had it, but the way they freak out over acorns is exponentially greater once they figure out that there's a food source of this chestnut. The deer will eat a chestnut and be like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever tasted. Where has this been my whole life? And that's because it's genetically predisposed in their wiring that this is a food source that they're supposed to have, because it was on the landscape forever and it's in their genetics, but it's been removed, so it's something that they don't even realize that they love. So introducing this native plant back into your habitat is a great way to provide your deer with some food that they didn't even know they were looking for. There's a lot of carbohydrate in this, not to mention you could forage it and chestnut roast them on an open fire. So, I mean, there's a lot of good to you putting chestnuts back. An issue, though, is that the blight that killed all the American chestnuts is still out there, and your tree can still be affected by that. What you're seeing now are cross variations of the chestnut tree. So like there's a Dunstan chestnut, there's a Chinese chestnut, there's European chestnuts. There's a couple of different variations of it that are more resistant than the American originals. So planting them back is not a true American chestnut. It's going to be some sort of like cross hybrid variation of that, but still important to your landscape, still a great forage nut to provide for your wildlife as well as yourself. So today we're diving in and we're going to get our seeds, or nuts in this case, to take root. If you haven't seen a chestnut, it comes in this spiny casing that, wow, it is sharp. It's actually pricking my finger right now and it's not even fun to hold. So inside there are usually 2 or 3 nuts inside there, or 2 seeds inside there, a larger one followed by 1 small or 2 small. They have like an eye on the bottom, so that's kind of an indicator that this is a chestnut. One side might be flat. To check to see if these chestnuts will take root, you can float them in water. Anything that sinks will most likely take root, and I say most likely because when seeding, grafting, propagating, anything that's a numbers game, you're gonna lose some out. Not everything's gonna take. So same thing with this. You can float them, and anything that floats, just throw away. That you can take it off the table. That's not going to root or propagate for you. So these have all not been floated, but I could feel the weight on them, and I know that these would all sink if they were put in water. There's no hollowness in them. I could squeeze them. So we're gonna get them in some sand or some medium, and we're gonna put them in a refrigerator. And we have to do that because these need to scarify or stratify in cold temperatures, much like your hard seed switchgrass. If you've planted switchgrass, that needs to be exposed to elements in order to stratify, scarify, and stimulate that seed, or in this case, seed nut, to shoot out a root and start to grow. So today we're going to activate that by putting it in a medium, in this case playbox sand, with a little bit of moisture, which is going to add an environment. We're going to place it in a refrigerator to cold stratify it. So it is the 21st of September. Do you remember? All right, whatever. So we're going to do that now, and we're going to get them in the refrigerator. This will be a longer video because it's September 21st now, like I just said, and I'm probably not going to be back until February. But let's go in and show you what I'm doing here with the nuts I collected off the tree from the neighborhood here in Long Island. And I hope to have these planted and in the ground in the spring next year, 2025. All right, guys, let's dive in. All right, ranchers, so this is what we're working with. We have our seeds, we have our play block sand, we have a couple of cups from a well-known corporate establishment. We have a Ziploc bag. What we're going to do is I'm going to do a couple of different things here. I'm going to put some sand in the bottom of all these cups. Not that much, just a good 2-handful layer here. I'm going to throw a couple of seeds in. I'm going to throw a couple of seeds in there. I'm going to cover them again. I'm going to do the same with this pair. Doesn't have to really be tamped down. I'm going to throw another couple of seeds in that one. The idea is you just want them to contact the sand. And you know, this time I did 3 because there was enough. Those first round they were kind of big. Again, I'm going to cover them. I'm going to cover these. It's literally just to get them covered. Now I'm going to do another layer just like that. And then cover. More sand. I'm going to cover this one same way. They're covered. They're not even tamped down. I'm going to add some water, just a little bit. We just want to make the sand moist from top to bottom, so kind of watch that filter down. It doesn't have to be like soggy. If you were really over worried or over cautious about how much water you're putting in here, you could theoretically put some holes in the bottom to drain, but you know, we're putting this in your refrigerator, so you know, you may want to make sure that you don't overdo it and make a mess in your refrigerator. So I'm watching that go down. I'm going to move on to this cup. All right, so I got my gloves. If you can't tell, these are mine. That's how everybody knows they're mine. If you saw one of these husks, you could collect them like this. You don't have to wait till the husks split, like say like this, and you see it sitting on the ground with the nut in it already. You can get a greening seed nut, seed pod, I guess, or husk off the tree. You could pick it and you could crack it open either on the ground or with a knife or something and pull the seed out. So this seed is all shriveled, it's soft, it's not going to be viable. This probably fell off the tree too early or pulled down or knocked down, so we're not even going to mess with that. And now I have one more cup here, and I'm going to do the same we just did there with just one. Just one. I'm going to fill it up. I'm making a sandy mess here in my workshop. Mostly all the way to the top. I'm going to add some water. You can see, I mean, I used this one bottle for this whole project. And the idea is just to build some moisture up in your cups. So I'm going to add a little bit more so it gets down to the bottom of those 2 cups there. And then a little bit there. And I still have enough here. So now we have that cup out of the way. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chestnuts, and I could tell you these 2 are probably not going to grow. If you could touch them, they feel very hollow. This one's not looking good either. All right, so I have just a couple of nuts here. We'll see what happens. If this bag technique doesn't work, we may not be able to blame the nuts. or blame the bag technique. We're gonna have to blame the nuts, but we're gonna try it anyway. So we're gonna take the bag, we're gonna put a couple of handfuls of sand in here, because not everybody wants to support corporate America and get plastic cups like that. And then we're gonna throw our nuts in the sand, in the bag. Seeds, nuts, however, whatever you wanna call them. Let's put a little bit of sand. And we're going to get this bag wet inside. And what's gonna happen is that's gonna create like a steaming medium for the chestnuts. Now, it doesn't have to be terribly wet, but I want it to be a little more wet than that, so I am going to need a second bottle of water here. I'm going to add a little bit more water. Now, I like sand as a rooting medium. I use it for other projects. Now, if you haven't seen my videos on red osier dogwood, I root a lot of red osier dogwood in sand. And what I'm going to do is I just want to make sure all the seeds are covered in the sand like they are like this. So I'm gonna zip tie, well not zip, I'm gonna zipper that bag closed. I'm gonna roll it up a little bit just so like I know everything stays together and stays covered and wet and moist. And that's it. My cups here, I'm gonna take my cups and for the safety of my fridge, I'm gonna slap on lids on the ones I have lids for, just to be safe. And now this goes in my refrigerator until February. All right, guys, so I have the refrigerator crisper drawer out. I have one drawer here. I'm gonna put our bag in this. It's gonna stay here. I'm gonna put my cups in the bottom, the crisper drawer area, and let that sit there. Again, they need to spend some time in the refrigerator like this so that they can cold stratify. So we will let them do their thing in that refrigerator, and I should see you back in like February or March. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Let's hope to get some chestnuts sprouting and growing. What's up, ranchers? Let's check in on the fridge and see how some of our propagation's going with the chestnuts. See how that looks. All right. All right, there they are, our chestnut seeds sitting here for a few months in wet sand. See if they are starting to do their thing. All right, let's take this outside and take it apart a bit. All right, guys, I have my chestnut seed. S, which means it's a single. There's only one chestnut in here. Moist sand in the refrigeration over winter and kept there. But now we're into the end of February. It's the last week of February. And I'm gonna check out to see if this chestnut seed awoken and is starting to get ready to go to plant. There it is. It's not that deep in there. I don't want to break off anything. It's going to be delicate if there is a shoot on this one. Let's see if it germinated. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. We got it stratifying. Let's see. There it is. There's the little root hairs coming out of this. So I'm going to stick this in dirt, water it, and let this take off. So going to pot now, kind of look at the flat spot of the chestnut seed. And you know, that is the shoot that'll start to grow down, but you want to put it flat with the rounder part up, like make a dome, like a half in the soil. And this does not need to be deep in the soil. We just got to cover this, and this will start to grow and grow down into the pot. What's up, ranchers? Welcome back to the ranch. All right, we're here on March 11th, standing in my little workshop, and we're gonna check in this refrigerator here on our chestnut seeds that I picked in the fall that have been cold stratifying in this refrigerator and see how they're doing. We're gonna get them in pots and get them outside now that spring is starting to sprung. Spring's starting to sprung. And see if we can get some of those to grow into chestnut trees. All right, guys, here we are, our 3 cups. Let's see what we got in here. Let's see if we can get this sucker out. I'm gonna try to do it gently because I don't want to damage to see what's happening in here. So a root stuck out. And let's see, there we go, there's that one. And it did crack. It did crack. So that little crack means it's stratified. Let's see if I can get a better picture of that there for you. So that little crack right there is it stratifying. And we can see when we plant that the root will come out from there. So here you go. You see that little crack? That's the stratifying. That's where the root is going to shoot out of. Now when we plant this chestnut seed. Let's check on one of these jobs here. So I don't know if you could see. See, my lighting is kind of bad. Look at that. That's a little bit of mold. That's concerning. Might have left them too long in the refrigerator, but we'll see what's going on with the nuts in there. Okay. So I'm going to kind of just flip this out and make a little bit of a mess, because I don't want to lose any of the chestnut seeds. This was just playbox sand. Let's see. That one looks swollen. That one cracked too. That's kind of cool looking. So that one's stratified as well. That one's iffy. I think I'm going to wash these off with some water because I'm afraid to damage anything that's going on there. So I'm going to get some water. Hang on. So let's rinse these off and see what happens. Well, that certainly sunk. That's good. Oh, I'm making a mess. I love making a good mess. I don't know how I feel about that one. Oh, wait, what do we got there? What do we got there? Could be a root right there. I don't want to mess with that white root right there. That could be what we're looking for. Let's see, right? Rinse this one off. All right, rinse this. Rinse this one. So that one's actually floating, and usually if they float they won't root, so I'm not even going to waste my time with that one. See that floating? No good. I'm just going to toss that one out. This one. All right, let's go to our next little batch here. That one there, stratified again. Yeah, I'll move the camera and show you. That's what we're looking for. Right there. See that? See that? That's what we're looking for. It's split open and it's forming a root. That's stratification. That's what we're looking for on our chestnuts, and we can plant this one. All right, so let's keep going. Here's another amazing one. Look at that. That's the root. There you go. That's stratified. This one's definitely going to take root and grow. That's what you want to see. This is probably my best one so far. All right, guys, I'm gonna get this table cleaned up, get some sand out of here, and then we'll come back and stick these in some pots. All right, for potting purposes, I'm gonna use a mixture of potting mix and organic seed starter. I'm going to be using the 12-inch tree pots. I got these on Amazon. I'll include links to all this stuff if you're interested in getting these pots. They're really nice and flimsy. They come stacked, really easy to take apart. And we're gonna fill them with a combination of this dirt that I'm gonna mix up in a bucket. And we're gonna put the chestnuts in and let them take off. For this step, I'm just gonna open up the bag and totally just put a portion of one, a portion of the other, and mix it up. That's all I'm gonna do is mix this up so I get a combination, take the chunks out of both soils. Let's pot this up. So chestnuts are going to require not a deep planting. Like, we're not going to put this chestnut way down in the bottom here. We're just going to cover the chestnut with some soil because the roots are going to start to shoot down and grow fast. And a pot like this size is good for about 90 days before you really need to start thinking about getting this in the ground. Lightly pack it, nothing crazy, you know. Keep going. You see I'm kind of coming right to the top there. So here is our container. You can see I kind of came right to the top there. And now we're going to put our chestnut seed in. I'm going to start with my favorite one. Where are you? Where are you? My favorite one. Where did you go? There you are, right there. This is my favorite one. Look at how good that looks, just like that. That looks great. That really is, this is going to root out straight down, and then the tree comes out, the stem will come out right out of the top there. And that's what's gonna make it. We're gonna put it right here in our pot, right there in our pot, very shallow, and just cover it up with some dirt. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of a hole with my finger. Come close and show you. A little bit of a hole with my finger. I'm going to point that, you know, see that they make like a semicircle, like a sunset kind of a thing. And I'm gonna point that root right into the hole, and then very lightly add a handful of soil to the top of this mixture. Let's see, I'm trying to get you so you can see what I'm doing as much as possible. It's just, that's it. And now I want to leave that chestnut exposed. So like, it's right there, right underneath my finger. When I water this in, it's going to be exposed again, and that's what I want. I want it to be slightly exposed, the top of the chestnut, because I want the stem to shoot out of the top. All right, let's do this like 15 more times. All right, in contrast now, if you've ever seen one of these little clamshell containers that grapes come in, nice and big, we're gonna fill this up with some soil, and I'm gonna pop 2 of my chestnut seeds in there to try to root, close up, and this becomes like a perfect little greenhouse. So I'm gonna peel the layer off, and we'll do that. We'll try this out. The only problem or concern with something like this is it's not that deep like the pots are. So you're gonna have to transplant the tree pretty quickly once you see them taking root and producing a stem, because chestnuts grow quick when they take off. So you're gonna need to get these out of here because there's not much depth for them to get in. So I'm just gonna pick, all right, a couple, pop them in, see what happens here. I don't like that one. That one looks good. I'm gonna do that one in the big pots. As you can see, I'm favoring ones I like a little bit. Let's see what happens in here. Close my clamshell. And that'll be my little greenhouse effect with that. All right, ranchers, let's water those in and get them outside to do their thing. All watered in. And I'm going to leave them on a shady side of my house on the northeastern side, kind of close up against the house foundation, as you can see. That'll give them some good morning sun, but they won't bake all day long and allow them to root and sprout. So this is April 30th, checking in on all my sprouts I have out here. And let's see how we're doing. The milk containers and the soda bottle containers are just placed on top to keep animals out from eating the seed out of the ground, because that's your big concern once they are put in pots and just left out there. I mean, squirrels and animals are going to want to eat a nut, so you want to protect them. So these act as like a little bit of a greenhouse action, as well as protecting the nut. So sprouted. See that? Sprouted. And then it's in the, that's 3 for 3 in that section. Next section, come over. Sprouted. 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 Let's see. All right, we got one unsprouted there. One unsprouted, but I am hopeful that it is coming. And last but not least, sprouted. And again, this is April 30th. And these are my chestnut seeds checking in on the chestnut sprouts. Stay tuned. Another check-in on Memorial Day, May 26th, and look at how great the growth is coming along on all my chestnut seeds. I mean, even over here where one of them didn't sprout, it's now sprouted and looks great. Not only that, it's growing another limb or branch that I'm going to actually cut off to allow for the main lead to grow straight and tall. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the ranch. It's Memorial Day and our last installment of growing chestnuts from seed. Here we are in the end of May, and look at how great all these chestnuts are looking. They've been in pots, they've been growing. They are going to stay in pots till September, and I'm going to plant them up at the ranch for the deer in tubes in another video later on. But here we go. I'm going to dive in, show you up close and personal. These are all the chestnut seeds that I put in pots and grew, and how awesome they look. Thanks for watching. If this helped you out at all, please like, please subscribe. Now let's come in and do a pan shot looking real close at how this ended up here with our chestnuts. Look at how great they look. Look at how awesome this is. And all I did today was cut off a few branches or like sprouts at the bottom, sucker sprouts, just to give back all the energy to the main leads that I want to grow strong until they get in the ground. But look at how great they are. I mean, this guy right here is probably like 15 to 20 inches tall already. They all look really good. This one had some base suckers, and I think that's why this one's yellowing. It didn't get enough energy coming to the top, so it was a little wonky. This guy I thought I killed, and I replanted it back in because I messed it up. So it's struggling just a little bit, but I could see it making a nice recovery. So these are our chestnuts. June 11th. I mean, here's just one of my chestnuts. Look how great that looks. I mean, I could keep going, but these will be in the ground in September. Last little entry here. While I was editing, figured I'd throw this in, and you could just see how awesome all these look. They look great. Get out there, grow some of your own chestnuts. Boom.